Yo, chill. Way too much ammo, and now I'm about to let it off. Yo, chill.
Yo, what's cracking? What's shaking? What is popping? Again, this is going to be another episode of the Comic Cinematic Universe, and today we are going to review the Suicide Squad. And just give me a minute or two. I'm still waiting on Young Grace to link up. I'm gonna we're still live. I'm gonna put it on. Be right back, but stay tuned. I'll be on in just a second. All right, holler at y'all in a sec. All right, we're back. Sorry for the delay. Heard there were technical difficulties, but I do have young Grace on the line, and today is going to be a special edition of the Comic Cinematic Universe because, again, we are going to be reviewing the Suicide Squad. So let me go ahead and change the screen real quick. Boom, because today we have a special background. We actually have the Suicide Squad in the background just to make it clear that's what we're chatting about. And as you can see, again, we got Grace live. Grace, say what's up. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure your mic is on because last time I got in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
So, all right,
no,
you're on.
yes.
You're good. You're good. All right. All
Hey,
right.
everybody. Great to be back. Super excited to talk about Suicide Squad. If you guys
Yeah.
don't know, Harley Quinn is like my favorite character ever. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been ready.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So, how would you like to dive in? Because let me give you a little footnote real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I like as you know, I went out of town. I went to Mexico, and I wanted to watch it while I was gone. I downloaded it, but then once I got down there in Mexico, certain movies and shows aren't available to watch. So
No.
I didn't watch this until I got off my flight, got home, laid down, and watched this last night. So right now, this is brand new. I didn't get a chance to watch it twice just so I can take notes. So I'm just kind
Mm-hmm.
of giving you the heads up as far as where I'm at.
No, I kind of like that. I'm excited to hear what like your like one-time view reactions or responses were to because I've definitely seen it like 10 times now.
Okay, okay.
So I kind of like that. That's exciting. Yeah, what were your takes on it? Like did you like the film? I know we had kind of differences when it came to Black Widow, but I'm curious to see where you stand on this one.
We may have differences here. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Oh,
So the good. All right. Was it better than the original Suicide Squad? Yes. Okay. I'm not mad at where James Gunn took it. This was rated R, correct?
yes, it was.
Yeah. So it was very clear that this was a totally different movie from the original. Because based on from what I saw, I'm just gonna take a stab at guessing that the previous one was maybe PG-13 because right from the jump we get blood, we get guts, we get Harley Quinn dropping the F bomb, which I don't think she's done in either one of the movies that she's been in so far. So, all in all, it was a better movie than the original. Go.
100%. 100%. I had a lot of high hopes for this one, so I came in kind of nervous because I think when I'm super excited about a film or I have a lot of emotional attachment to a character, I get very defensive and I'm scared that they're gonna do it wrong. I loved it so much. It was fun. It was exciting. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite things from Marvel, so I
Okay.
was really excited when I heard James Gunn was going to direct the second Suicide Squad. I was like, this is going to be amazing because we all know the first one was kind of a flop. You can tell there was just a lot of idea changes in the middle of production. It was very
Mm-hmm.
choppy, but it did
Mm-hmm.
give us a lot of great things as well. It was still a fun film. I could still rewatch it and enjoy pieces of it, but this one is just a complete masterpiece in my opinion.
Can I
There's a
stop
lot
you
of
right
things.
there?
Go ahead. Go
Because
ahead.
right then and there you can say the original you can enjoy certain pieces of it, but as a whole you can't enjoy it as a whole, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why
100%.
that's why like with the first one, as much as I wanted to like it, like and I'm gonna explain later. There are reasons why I like some aspects of the original over this new one. But as far as the original goes, yes, it wasn't a great movie. It had some big actors and big characters in it, but we didn't get what we expected with those characters. So here in the new Suicide Squad, I am going to say almost the same thing. I'm going to say that I didn't get as much as I wanted from the characters that were presented to me last night.
Mhm. I gotta
And
hear more. You can't just give me that. I might
all
know you
right.
can't just give me
So,
that. In what
all right.
way?
So,
Yeah, talk to me.
let's talk about the beginning, okay? And the very beginning
Okay.
of the movie, honestly, the one thing that they decided to do that I was happy for was getting I got the IMDb up real quick. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, getting Pete Davidson out of here. Okay, he lasted maybe 3 minutes. Honestly, like seeing him in the credits in the original trailer, I wasn't really excited to see him because I'm totally not a fan. Okay, I don't even understand how he's been on SNL so long. He's not funny to me. And what else? Oh, and they got Jai Courtney out of there. Okay, because him as Boomer, he had his moments in the first, but I didn't know how long or what he was gonna do in the second, and they got him out of here in the first few minutes as well. So those were the good. I'm glad they kind of got them out of the way. Now, as far as things I was expecting to see more of, I was expecting to see a little bit more from. As much as I did love Bloodsport, Bloodsport was great. Idris Alba did a great job playing him. I was just hoping for a little bit more, simply for the fact that, like, say, just to take it back to the original, say Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
And his character of Deadshot, his ability was just to be spot on sharpshooter, can shoot from anywhere and hit his target, right? And in that, I feel like they displayed that in the original. Now, as far as Bloodsport goes, his character, I didn't really get much of a background, for one. And two, what else? I feel like I didn't get anything amazing from him. Like, well, from what I saw it in the trailer, which was him pulling out the gun that transforms and ends up shooting at at the villain. I forgot what the villain was called. But yeah, I didn't really.
Starro?
Yeah, yeah,
Starro? Is that who you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
Starro. Say and who else? Who else? I actually thoroughly enjoyed John Cena's character. Like, I'm not really a John Cena fan. He's slowly growing. Like, as far as roles that he's been in up to this
Yeah.
point, it's never been on some, oh, I gotta check out like John Cena, because just I hate to compare, but as far as The Rock is concerned, like, The Rock is one of those actors where at first it wasn't like that, but eventually he grew on me. And I feel like that's the same with John Cena, to where now he's getting more, hopefully better roles and better writing, because whoever wrote this for him, I feel like did a good job, and I liked what he had to give. And
You know,
then
I agree a lot with John Cena. It's so funny, like almost like parallel to how you feel about John Cena. Like I would never get excited if he was in a movie. Never. Like I was just like,
right,
oh, he's in it. It's not gonna be good.
right.
I just never was excited. Um, he was probably like the only thing I enjoyed from Fast and Furious 9, just because I kind of liked his character a little
Did
bit.
you
I was like,
really?
okay, a little bit, but I didn't like the film. Let's not go there.
Okay, yeah.
I surprisingly really enjoyed his character in this film. So
Yeah.
I agree. Like I never was a huge fan, but now like I'm excited to see his TV show come. I think it's a show coming out on HBO. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's a movie.
Oh, the same character?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, I didn't
it's
even
gonna
know.
be a spin-off. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. So I know you have like a little bit more when it comes to the characters. Let's just kind of break down the characters for
Do it
everybody
for
really
me.
quickly, because there's so many people in this movie. So I have the breakdown. I kind of broke it down into the dead teammates. Yes. Okay. If you're on here and you haven't seen Suicide Squad 2, spoiler warning.
This
Papa?
is
Okay.
titled the review of Suicide Squad, so this
People will still
should,
get mad.
from the
I don't
title,
know.
should already know that there are going to be spoilers. Okay.
We've done our part.
Yeah.
Warnings. Anyways, so we have it's Savant,
Mm-hmm.
Boomerang, TDK, right? The detachable kid, Blackguard, Javelin, Weasel, Mongol, Briscoe. All of these are cut out. The main team that we then follow with the film: Bloodsport, Ratcatcher, Harley Quinn, Flag, Nanaue,
Mm-hmm.
right? King
Mm-hmm.
Shark, Peacekeeper, and Polka Dot Man.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about the main team, right? That makes up the X Force, right? It's Task. Is that the main? It's like yeah, Task Force X. I feel like I disagree so hard with you in
Do
terms
it.
of the
Do it.
development of the
Mm-hmm.
characters and how much they took time in each individual one. Like, I actually care about every single one of the ones that are on here. There's
Mm-hmm.
probably not a single one that I don't think that they did justice to. Even Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man, who James Gunn himself said was probably like the dumbest character ever created in the
Right.
DC or in superheroes in general. Even he had like a decent like weight to his character so that when he was killed off at the very last bit of the movie, I actually cared. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I feel like that you can look at so many different aspects of the dynamics within the character themselves, but then also the relationships, right? When you look at
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport with Peacekeeper, and then when you see Bloodsport with Harley Quinn, or Harley Quinn with Flag, or Flag with Bloodsport, like they all have like the little niches that just gave so much like juicy sparks and detail that it made you care about the team. It made you care about I was gonna say John Cena, but you know, it made you care about Peacekeepers. I'll call it kind of betrayal a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, just because by then they kind of developed a little bit of a team bonding after their little meeting at the Gatita, what is it called? Amable,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like they did a really good job considering how many people were on. It's kind of like a, how would I say? They took their time. There was action beyond action beyond action that looks amazing.
Yes.
Harley
Yes.
Quinn scene, I will get to that. That was like my favorite thing in the whole movie. Well, not the whole movie, but just, you know, I'm biased.
Let
Anywho,
me can I stop you right
go
there,
ahead.
because you said that when it came down to the character development, they did that in the film, but I mentioned this a while ago. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I know I mentioned this on the podcast as far as what to expect from this movie. Okay, and I said it to the point to where James Gunn made this movie as almost like a solo movie. There's no attachment to the DCEU universe. Period. Now, as far as what I'm saying, backgrounds go, in the first movie, one thing I did like about the first movie is getting an understanding of how these people got put into jail, because you got to see Boomerang getting taken down by the Flash, you got to see Deadshot taken out by Batman, and you got to see some type of connection to the characters of the Justice League, right? So
Right.
now moving into this movie, we didn't get any a background aside from Bloodsport being uh, serving with Flag, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. We have no idea why he's in prison. We have no idea who put him there, and we have no idea who put any other character in jail. And that's one thing that I was hoping just to see, just because at the end of the day, this is a DC movie, okay? And I
Mm-hmm.
understand that this is a movie about DC villains, but there should be some type of tie-in with a character from the Justice League and how they got into the situation to where they are.
Does it though? Does it need to tie in with a member of the Justice League?
Why not?
Well, why do they? I'm asking. I'm asking kind of because the thing is that I get what you're saying, and honestly, when it comes to Suicide Squad, the first one, that's probably one of the things I enjoyed. I thought that was one of like the nice things about the movie is they gave you a background of Harley Quinn. It gave you a background of all of them in terms of how they got caught, how they got put into Belle Reve, and
Mm-hmm.
then transitioning into the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this movie didn't need it. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily add much to the plot itself because the plot is kind of surrounding like their relationships. They're obviously trying to take care of Starro, all those
Mm-hmm.
things. Would it be nice? Like, cool, yeah. But I feel like we've already gotten Harley Quinn's background. They gave us
Right.
a
We
little bit
didn't need
about
that.
Bloodsport, which is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I feel like maybe I'm sure it was something that they brought up, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
because we had already heard met Flag, met Boomerang, met
Mm-hmm.
Harley Quinn, it might have felt choppy to do it in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
and so it didn't miss it for me. I wasn't expecting it necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And just to kind of comment, just because it's a little fun fact or a comment on how, James Gunn didn't tie this into any of the DC movies. And that's kind of, when going into a DC film, I feel like I'm just kind of waiting for them to tell me, like, just tell me if this ties into anything. If you don't tell me, then I'm assuming it's not, because most of it isn't, weave the way that MCU is, which I think kind of gives the DC a little bit of freedom, because nothing has to really be attached and drawn and weaved into like a next project, next project, next
Right.
project. What I thought was kind of funny about this one was that when you speak to James Gunn, not only is it just kind of its own little cute thing on its own, it's not even necessarily meant to be a sequel nor a reboot to Suicide Squad 2. And so it's kind of and then when you speak to, I think it's Peter Safran, who's the producer of the film, his take completely is like, oh, it's a complete reboot. It's a complete reboot to Suicide Squad 1, but they did intentionally leave a couple of tie-ins to the movie to still, alludes to the fact that Flash and Flash, am I saying it? No, Flag. Why am I saying Flag? Flag, Quinn, and Boomerang still have a relationship, which you can kind of see at the start of the film, right? You can tell like they know each other. They seem like friends. When, Flag eventually dies at the end of the film, Harley is very upset. And so it's kind of funny how it's not even tied into its own movie that it's kind of labeled after. And if you look at interviews, they won't even say Suicide Squad 2 when you speak to James Gunn. He just says Suicide Squad, because I think it's kind of like, hey, if you want to think it's a sequel, cool. If you want to consider it a reboot, cool. And I think that just kind of adds to the feel of the film, that it's kind of just its own cool thing. And I think for that reason, since, who knows if they're going to make another one, I hope they do. If they decide to continue with these characters or decide to bring in other characters, they don't have to keep to that same lineup of like, all right, now we got to take all this film time to explain to you who all these characters were, how they got caught, how the crime happened, and all of that. So I feel like that's maybe another reasoning why they didn't do that into this film, just because logistically, if they want to make another one, now they got to take more screen time to do that same thing, if that makes sense. That's kind of my take in terms of why they decided not to give each of these individuals a little bit of a backstory. Let's see, I had a question, but I'll come back to it because it skipped my mind. You can continue with what you were saying. I feel like I interrupted, I'm sorry.
Okay, so say throughout the movie, I was entertained. Okay, just from the brief relationship that Harley had with the guy with the accent, like it was super brief but super entertaining. And then Polka Dot Man randomly throwing up polka dots at night. It's like the only thing I was curious is to see if they were going to explain or even show what it is, because I know he throws out the polka dots, but in that, I wish they would have explained it sooner as far as what the polka dots do. Like I don't know exactly what his power is. He just shoots out polka dots. I don't know if he can shoot out a huge big one polka dot to take out anybody. It's just like I just got a brief, I guess, concept as far as what he is about. And the girl who can control rats, her dad was, how do you pronounce his name? I can't say it for the life of me, but I just know he's like the writer of Everything Great right now. He's super trending with right. He's super trending with Thor. I love the movie What We Do in the Shadows, and like a whole bunch of funny stuff. Other funny stuff.
Good.
So I saw that he made a brief cameo in it. And what else?
As we were talking about cameos, I kind of want to take a minute just to talk about all the cameos that there were, because I got excited. There's a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy cameos, but also just a few little Marvel-esque, like Taika Waititi. I don't think he's directly related to the Guardians of the Galaxy portion, but obviously he directed Thor. He's going to be directing Love and Thunder. But we have Pom Klementieff, which I'm saying wrong, I'm sorry, but she plays Mantis. She's the dancer.
I saw that. I actually peeped that, and I was like, that looks like Mantis. That's like the lead singer of that band. I peeped that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we have her, obviously Michael Rooker, Yondu, Sylvester Stallone, because he shows up in the Guardians of the Galaxy too. He plays Sakaar. Taika Waititi, like you mentioned. Sean Gunn.
Is
right?
he?
Kraglin.
Is this just stupid for me to assume that he's related to The other
He
gun?
is. I think
Okay.
he is. I
All
believe
right.
they're brothers. I believe they're brothers. So he
Okay.
played both Weasel and Calendar Man. Calendar Man is the guy who was like talking smack to Polka Dot Man when we first get introduced to him.
When?
So he played both roles. When they're kind of collecting the members of what I'll call like the
Yeah.
main portion of the Suicide Squad,
Uh-huh.
when they're taking off like the portion of his neck, Calendar Man, he's a guy with like these tattoos that wrap around, and if you
Oh,
look
right.
closely,
Him.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
March,
yeah. The
February,
bald guy.
April.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
That
he
was the only
played him
camo
as
that I
well.
caught.
Yeah, he played him as well, and then not exactly a cameo, but just also a fun fact. Apparently, Dave Bautista was supposed to play the role of Peacekeeper. I guess he was offered it, but he was too busy being casted for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So we would have also had Drax in there too. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool. A lot of overlap here.
Yeah, I did. I peeped that. Um, I won't say it was a cameo, but one role that I enjoyed, even though it was small, was by Bloodsport's daughter, Storm Reed. Like, I've seen her in a bunch of other movies, and she's always played the literal innocent girl. And just to hear her drop a ton of F bombs to her dad and go back and forth, that was, I'm not going to say, I mean, it was hilarious, but I was like, hold on, little girl. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I no, for sure. Like when you watch certain people play kind of, I don't want to say like typecast like roles, but when you see
Right.
them in certain roles and then you see them outside of it, it almost like it feels kind of, it adds to the effect of the scene. That
Mm-hmm.
scene is so funny. I think my favorite part is when Bloodsport enunciates one of like he's like, you know what I'm talking about? He like changes his like tone when he's like
Oh,
in the
yeah.
back and they're like F
Mm-hmm.
you, F you. He's like
Mm-hmm.
F you. It's just it's
Yep.
such a
Yep.
funny scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
hilarious. Yeah.
Wait. So you said you had a question for me. So what was the question that you had?
Let me see. Okay, so I don't think it was a question actually. I just wanted to point out a couple of things.
Okay.
So let's see. A couple wins for me. So a big difference between this one and the first film that I think some people actually said they were disappointed in. I saw a couple of like just, comments throughout the internet verse is that the color palette of this film is so different than the first one, which I expected and I loved
Mm-hmm.
because being that, it's James Gunn recent films, Guardians of the Galaxy and the color palette of that, I
Mm-hmm.
expected that same kind of lightheartedness and color and playfulness to be brought into this film. I know
Yeah.
some people were kind of turned off by it just because they didn't expect it, which I get it, but it's James Gunn. You should have known. Do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
The color palette was just amazing. Just to compare the first one to the second one, because we both agreed that the second one was just done so much better. The first one, Rotten Tomatoes, 26%. Suicide Squad 2, as of right now,
I think it's
91%.
91.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
91%. And to compare that to Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, Guardians of the Galaxy comes in at 92%. So it's like, it definitely, I think, lived up to the majority of people as the hype as they connected the film with James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy, all of that. Along with the notes I was kind of mentioning about how, is it a prequel, is it a sequel? There was something about, because we both, Boomerang, I agree. I was kind of like, I don't understand how he's going to add to the film. So the fact, when he was, taken away in the beginning, I was like, all right, I'm not too bothered, but I still was kind of like, aw, like I was hoping to see a little bit more of him.
Can I talk to you about Boomerang just for a second?
Yeah,
And it's not even
go.
going to be about Boomerang, okay? This is going to be 100% hate on Jai Courtney, okay? Because when it comes down to Jai Courtney, he had a season, okay? And that season may have lasted from 2012 to 2015 or 16 to where he was the hot stuff. But in an actuality, every role that I saw him do, as far as the major roles that he's got, it was underwhelming because he himself he did he did the last Die Hard where he played John McClane's son, and that it It was Bruce Willis all the way, doing a whole bunch of quirky one-liners and all that. And then from there, he played John Connor. No. He didn't play John Connor. He played John Connor's dad, Kyle Reese. And in that, it was more so homegirl from Game of Thrones that stole the show in that movie.
Queen of Dragon.
Yes,
Agreed.
the Queen of Dragon. And then what else? Because there was one other movie to where I was just like, what am I watching?
He was also in the Divergent series, which overall was not that great.
Oh
and I don't think it shined at all.
I totally.
But
But
no,
out of
I
all the
agree.
roles, I would
Yeah.
have put that as his top role. I'm not even gonna lie.
See, in mine, I'm like, that's like the last one I think of. But
Yeah.
no, he definitely had like a period where he was getting all these roles.
Right.
He didn't really continue on very much, but it was kind of nice to see him on screen again. I was expecting to see him a little bit longer, but when he was gone, I wasn't exactly like really disappointed.
Right. Like. Continue.
Oh, I was gonna say, there is a possibility actually that they might bring him back.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that, whether you like it or not, there's just like they left something that I think was intentional in case they decided to bring him back later on. When he dies, right in that beginning scene on the beach, his boomerang is glowing white, right? And apparently in the comics, that's something that happens. And there's something where like through his boomerang, he's like able to like basically reincarnate or something of the sort. So I think they added that in just in case they wanted to bring him back. They left a little bit of an Easter egg where they can justify it.
Yeah.
So we might see him come back again.
Okay.
I'm okay either way. One of the characters that I think really caught my heart, that it didn't really catch my heart on the first one, was Flag, because his character is very different in this one than it was in the first film.
Yeah.
He's a lot less like broody, a lot less serious. He has a little bit more Harley Quinn in him in terms of just like, I feel like she's rubbed off on him, because from just little things in the film you can tell that they probably have had some kind of like a friendship before this, or you know, whether you want to call this the sequel or the reboot, it's very clear that they've been interacting with each other for prior to this. And I feel like it just makes sense that even if this was a sequel, her presence kind of softened him up a little bit, made him a little bit more like fun and colorful, and then it killed my boy off at the end.
But see,
I didn't like that.
But before we even get to the end, so say very beginning, right? Both teams arrive to whatever island that is, and when it comes to Rick Flag and his character, I would have expected him to be on, I guess, the more covert team, being that he was the leader of, let's say, the first movie, but then like homegirl ended up sending him with the team that, I don't know, she wasn't planning on that team getting taken out, but it was like he was placed to lead a team to where that's the team that could go down, if anything.
Most likely to get him killed.
Right, exactly.
I felt the same way because when you look at the trailer, I think a lot of us were assuming, okay, this looks like the team that's probably going to get killed off. And then this looks like the team that's going to be like, probably the main story is going to be revolving around them.
Right.
And then I think it was a choice maybe so that when trailers came out and you saw Rick Flag and Harley Quinn with that first team, you couldn't immediately say that they're gonna for sure be taken off, right? Because I think if it was just that cast without Harley Quinn, without Flag, it would have been 100% evident that they were gonna kill all of them off. So I think maybe it was just a way for them to kind of keep you wondering if that was gonna be the way the plot adapted. But I agree, it felt like maybe her intention was first to kill them off, but then that's not true, because then she detours the main squad to go and rescue Flag. So I think it was a choice maybe on like the writing aspect, just to kind of not have it so black and white, you know what I mean? So it was a little bit still kind of a guesswork. I think that was more of like the decision process. Okay. And then in Amanda Waller's case, again, she wasn't expecting the whole team to be taken out, because they didn't anticipate what's his face's betrayal. So I think it was an intentional like way to kind of keep you guessing in terms of how the plot was going to manifest. But I don't know if it was prior, if it was in interviews prior to the release of the film. I'm going to assume that it was. James Gunn said like he was casting when he was writing and casting and creating this arsenal of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were being brought into the mix, knowing who was going to die, who was going to go out, right? Because kind of you can tell some of them were just introduced to basically be the alien chick,
Mm-hmm.
that who like he's like I got this, jumps on the
Right.
helicopter and then gets like
Right.
slashed up, weasel, all of them. And something that I think I enjoyed with this film, and I think is what we also enjoyed with the first one, is that he brings in characters that are relatively unknown in the comics
Mm-hmm.
and gives them a little bit of a spotlight and makes you kind of care a little bit about them. Like the fact that I cared about Polka Dot Man, like that tells you something about the writing.
Right.
And that's kind of pretty true to the origin of Suicide Squad in the comics. That kind of is how the writer wanted to bring it about. Is let's bring these kind of nobody superheroes, supervillains, and bring them in a squad together and give them a name.
But saying that, like, cause say if this is going to fall back onto being connected to just the DC universe in general, because if all of these people are quote unquote super villains, that's one thing that I would have liked to know how they were being taken down. Just because all of them, like even the alien chick and even Pete Davidson, like he was there for a reason. And I was expecting to see. Yes, I was hoping he was going to be taken out, but I was expecting to see something from him. He must be badass to be on the Suicide Squad. Every single one of these characters, I'm to assume, are to be just super badasses, and of that. I feel like the only badasses on the team were Harley, Bloodsport, I don't know, Peacemaker, and I wouldn't put Polka Dot Man up there. I was actually looking to see a little bit more of, honestly, I don't want to call him Yondu, but you know who I'm talking about, the guy who played Yondu on Guardians.
Yes, so he plays Savant.
Right.
Savant
Right.
One. Yeah.
Right, because he very beginning is just playing with a bouncy ball, and he has a similar skill of Deadshot, and then in the heat of battle he freezes and runs away. But that was something that, if anything, I would have liked to see a little bit more of in terms of action sequences go, because we did get a lot of fighting, which I did enjoy. But I would have liked to see. I'm all about being razzle dazzled, you know. If it's somebody that can shoot a shot and ricochet off of something just to hit another bad guy, something like that is entertaining as well. And I felt like just from the very beginning, that's what I would have got. But then immediately he was taken out, like immediately.
So a couple things I wanted to go back to. So one of them being, because I know you're kind of stuck on the idea, like, Grace, I wanted a backstory. I wanted to hear how
I
all these
wanted
people got
it.
put in.
I wanted it.
So a couple things. So first of all, this is Belle Reeves. I think after the first film, I assumed it was like major max security people were the only ones who were sent to Belle Reeves. We know that's not the case now, though, because Waller was going to be able to send, Bloodsport's daughter into the prison.
Can you pause? Can you give me just a backstory of what that place is in the comics? Because the first movie was based out of Arkham, correct? Or no?
Arkham Asylum is something completely different. Belle Reeves is a correctional facility in the comics that kind of comes out throughout like the DC universe.
Okay.
I don't know too much apart from what we've kind of been told in the Suicide Squad. So that's why when the first one came out, I was kind of in the same realm of thinking that the people who were sent there were like max security people. Harley Quinn, Deadshot, all of those, right?
Yeah.
But this film kind of disputes that, because we see people like Polka Dot Man. We see that Amanda Waller could have easily sent Bloodsport's daughter into the prison as well for, robbing a TV watch.
Right.
So we know it's not a prison that only holds like high level security people. It just also does that.
Okay.
And back to that point of like, oh, I expected all of these to have like really like I'm expecting all of them to be badasses.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the badassery way that they got
Right,
into the
right.
prison. We also know that's not the case because Amanda Waller, I think, specifically picked like that first team because they were disposable, right? Like yeah, they could probably get shit done, but they're kind of disposable, right? Detachable man,
Would you say?
aka.
But would you say like every squad that she's put together? Yes, these movies are called Suicide Squad, but all characters here, would you say are disposable? Just if anything, like say if a third movie came out, should I expect just for even the badasses just to be taken out at the beginning of the movie?
Not necessarily that. And what I mean by disposable, I mean that she picked people who were kind of disposable for team one, whereas the team that she put together to complete like the big part of the mission
Mm-hmm.
were very strategically chosen, and she protected those a little bit more. No, she didn't expect everyone to die right in the full first team, but they were like, if it happens, I think it's kind of okay,
Right.
because that's the reason they have the Suicide Squad. That's the reason they go to Belle Reeves and get these prisoners, because if
Mm-hmm.
they die, they die, and it's fine. It's not that big a deal. They were in the correctional facility and they were going to be there unless they broke out, which they do.
Yeah.
You know, until the end of their days. So I think, and also my last point, just kind of to on your mark of wanting to see the backstories. I think at some point it would be repetitive. It's going to be thievery, murder, or something along those lines.
If we happen to
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, if we happen to see, like say if no, if Amanda Waller's talking about, oh, Bloodsport, he's known for putting Superman in the ICU. If we actually get a quick clip right there of him actually shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet, just something so little, it can last 3 seconds, but something like that would be just instant gratification and add to the quote unquote backstory of Bloodsport.
I give you that. I will give you that. I feel so bad. You're like, just 3 seconds, man.
Right.
Please give me 3 seconds of this little snippet.
Yeah.
So no, I'll give you that. I'll give it to you. But it's overall, like, I think the team was done so really well. The characters were created beautifully and adapted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously biased. Harley Quinn's like my number
Obviously.
one always.
Obviously.
I was obviously, but I was really surprised at how much I fell in love with Ratcatcher. I was blown away with how much I cared about this guy. Ratcatcher 2. Sorry. Man,
I'm kidding.
We didn't even let that slip.
Nah.
Okay. But what's her name? Her real name is Cleo. Yeah,
I'm
her real
looking
name
her
is
up right
Cleo.
now.
James Gunn calls her the heart of the film,
Mhm.
and I agree. Her relationship with Bloodsport is so pure. It makes me so happy that when we get to that scene where John Cena's character Peacekeeper is about to shoot her. By the way, that whole structure of that scene was done so well, where it cuts from that moment into 7 minutes earlier or however minutes earlier, and then leads back into that.
Yeah.
And then we see Bloodsport just going boom, 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 knocking down into that specific scene. You see her eyes like in tears because she's about to die, and then you just see him like, like what's the word? Just dad it up and be like, ah!
Right.
It was really it was such a great little nugget. I really enjoyed their relationship, and I would even say more than I enjoyed Harley Quinn's performances. I'm biased. I have a favorite scene I want to talk about. I'll say that's the end because I won't shut up if we get into it. But Ratcatcher was like stole my heart, and that was really surprising.
Wait, hold on.
Also, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You said her name is Cleo?
Cleo. Yeah, I have it.
This is
right here.
Ratcatcher?
I believe so. I think her actual name is Cleo. Is it? Do you have something else?
Yeah. It's coming up on IMDb as Daniela Melchior.
I believe, is that the actress that plays her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about her actual name in the film, like in the world of DC.
Okay. I'm like Cleo. I'm scrolling through IMDb. I was like, where's Cleo?
Man, you are just looking to be like, Grace, you're wrong.
You're
no,
wrong.
That is the actress. She's
Yeah.
I believe she's like a Brazilian Portuguese actress who wasn't really known in like the US, but James Gunn like specifically casted her for this role because she wasn't very well known, and she killed it.
Okay.
Like I could hear her talk all day long.
Just because of her accent?
No, she just sounds so sweet. Like the scene I'm like thinking about is when she's about to be eaten by how do you say his name? Nanawe? Well,
Yeah, yeah,
King
yeah.
Sark. And then she's like, "No, he has kind eyes." And then Sebastian is like what you can assume explaining to her like, "No, you were about to be eaten." And she's
Right.
like, oh, "You bastard." Like it's just so cute. I love her. I can't wait to see. I hope we see more of her. I hope that she's the reason I want to see Suicide Squad 3.
Yeah.
Like not even for Harley Quinn, she's the reason I want to see more. Like her and her relationship with Bloodsport.
Well, that aside, I think one thing that it's like I wasn't expecting at the beginning of the movie, but maybe towards the middle when she met up with the Thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for some reason, I was just going to assume that he was going to steal her technology to control
Mm-hmm.
Starro, because he was like, "Oh, I was developing something like that," blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking with that, that's where the story was gonna go, but obviously it didn't go that way. I was just hoping, I guess maybe in Suicide Squad 3, maybe she
Mm-hmm.
can control something other than rats. I just thought that was a little weird. That's the reason why I didn't put her in my top. I just her power just wasn't for me.
Man, why? What's your problem with rats, huh? What's your
Hey,
problem with rats?
hey, man. I think everybody has a problem with rats. Nobody wants one.
That's the reason I'm even more like surprised at how much I love her. Her power is so like if she can take down Starro, like would you consider her more powerful than like like what can she not stop, right?
Right.
Because she essentially single-handedly took down Starro,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and let's not forget of someone that I missed in the lineup for the main team, Sebastian, the rat. Let's give him a little call out because he did an amazing job. I
Sebastian the
love
who? Um,
Sebastian, the rat,
oh, her personal with the
her
backpack.
personal assistant.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like, who?
This is why I needed to bring him up because
I
he
got
was
you.
also a star,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well as
yeah.
just to kind of highlight some of like the secondary characters. Milton,
Mm-hmm. That was pretty
Milton.
funny. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty funny.
A little backstory. So Polka Dot Man, obviously he felt very strongly about Milton,
Right.
being taken out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Milton Bill Finger is the name of the creator of Polka Dot Man, and that is who Milton, the character that we see in Suicide Squad 2, is
Ah,
named after. That's a
gotcha,
really cool
gotcha.
little
Easter egg.
Easter egg. I thought that was so
Yeah,
funny,
that's cool.
and that's kind of why in the film they made him care so much about Milton,
Yeah,
or as he should have. He did his part.
yeah.
But also speaking about Polka Dot Man,
Mm-hmm.
the actor himself, I can't, David Dastmalchian. I didn't even mention him as a Marvel overlap because he was in Ant-Man too. I mean, one and
He's been
two.
in so many
We
comic book
missed him. He's
films.
so many good things.
He
Yeah,
was
but that I forgot to mention him.
I remember he was an escapee of Arkham in the Dark Knight, and the Joker used him to take out Gordon in that parade.
Mhm.
And yeah, I
Yes, yes,
remember.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was in both Ant-Man. He was like the Russian in Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2. And
So good.
yeah, I'm actually compiling a list that we're going to discuss in another podcast as far as uh, comic book comic book roles with different actors and who has the most, and he's up there. And I'm not talking like television. I'm just mainly talking as far as what we see on the big screen. So
Mhm.
yeah, he was up there as far as maybe the most comic book movie roles to date. So
He's been in a lot of things.
yeah.
Something that I found out is that apparently the actor suffered from Bill. Oh, I don't want to say suffered, but he has vitiligo, and he suffered from bullying and when he was a kid, and people would call him Polka Dot Kid
Oh
or
no.
Polka Dot Boy because of his vitiligo. And so when he was casted for this like role, apparently he felt so connected with it because
Yeah.
it called back to things that in his childhood. So I thought that was so interesting. I feel like the casting was done so well to a T to things that you wouldn't even like imagine. Um,
As far as him and his role, I feel like if anything, I'm into dark humor, and when it comes down to like say Harley was like, "Oh, I thought he was the crazy one," and I thought you were gonna be in the crazy one. He's like, "But I am." Like I honestly busted out laughing. I thought that was hilarious. Something so simple, something so small. It wasn't like he was trying to be funny. He's like a sad dude that is haunted by his mom. Like I did enjoy Polka Dot Man. I just his powers were just a little out there.
I think they were meant to be. I mean,
Yeah.
when he was introduced, Peacekeepers, like, what does he do? He throw polka dots at people. It's like, oh, he throws polka dots at
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
He throws
Yeah.
polka dots.
Mm-hmm.
Since I mentioned Peacekeeper, something that I thought was really funny is, so James Gunn specifically told a lot of the cast members not to look up their like respective roles in the comics. Like, I guess he didn't want too much of an influence while the actors were preparing. I know that was the case for Peacekeeper, but the direction he did give him is, you're basically a douche bro-y Captain America. And so just looking at the year 2021, we've got I didn't write down his name, but U.S. Agent Captain America, because he kind of took mantle for a little bit. We obviously have Falcon, who then took on Captain America role, and then we had the Russian Captain America, the Red Guardian, and now we have Peacekeeper. So many different variants, if you will, of Captain America just in like 2021. I just thought that was really funny because it's all in one year. We're getting all these different variants now that Cap is out of the picture.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I had a fun question I was going to ask. Actually, I want to talk about my favorite scene from the film.
It's the Harley moment. It's the Harley moment.
Harley
Here
moment.
it is. Here it is. Go for it.
I've been waiting. So I'm talking about Harley's fight scene, and it's actually, there's a name to that fight scene. I found out as I was doing my little research for today's little pod. So Harley's fight scene is called Harley Vision, and that name was coined by one of the production designers, Beth Michael. So it's the fight scene that she's like trying to break out of the police station right there at Cordo Maltese. And apparently, like, the flowers and the birds and all that kind of appears in the background, the very comic book-esque little background that she has, is a callback to the animated series that she originated from, because apparently those are just kind of things that they drew from the animated series.
Oh, yeah?
Which I thought was kind of cool, yeah. Another reason why I really love that scene is because when you see her, when you see her beating up all like the men that she's escaping, that scene just gave me so much like reminders of when Nat is beating up 20 guys in Iron Man 2, and she's just kind of like plowing through this building. It gave me the same feels. And then when she exits said building and she gets the cab and she's like putting her javelin inside, it gave me the same. It reminded me of Deadpool when he's like nonchalantly kind of like going into a cab in his full getup, and he meets I forget the character's name, but it just gave me such tie-ins with a whole bunch of different parts of the superhero world. I was like, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'd like to say something about the start of that scene. Say when she's tied up, right? And she fakes that she's knocked out. Can we talk about her back strength just for a second? As far as how strong she must be to not only, yes, she lifted herself up, which is okay. You can do that. But then when she got her legs around dude and lifted him up even more, I was like, listen, for those who do know, I am a personal trainer. And from that, I know you have to have some crazy back strength, you know what I'm saying? So
that's such a strong callback. I'm so happy you brought that up. I was actually about to miss that. I had a couple of notes on that too. Same thing. I was like, the amount just and effortlessly with like no enough that she does it so silently to easily bring herself up, do a triangle hold on this man, lift him up, and then choke him out. It's such a callback, or such a what's the word? It's such a parallel to how she is in the comics, because she is a gymnast. That's kind of how she developed her abilities to be the Joker sidekick, because she's a gymnast. She was good enough to get a scholarship to Gotham University for psychology. And when I saw that scene, it gave me, I was excited because, first of all, yes, she has to be super strong, but the fact that it's done so effortlessly to the point that she could lift this man off
Mm-hmm.
of the floor as well, and then still super seamlessly grab the keys and then bring it up to her to the top and unlock her.
Right.
In the comics, she does actually develop an enhancement. uh Poison Ivy in the comics gives her some type of, I don't know if it was like via injection or if she drank something, but it was to restore her strength after she was basically beaten by like the Joker.
Mm.
But it gave her an enhancement that allowed her to take on Batman in combat,
Mm.
um to such a degree that the Joker was like astounded that she was able to kind of keep up with him, because that was not the case beforehand.
Yeah.
So she is enhanced in the comics. That's not like specifically clear. Not everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious if maybe this was like a way of us also kind of getting that feel that maybe that is the case right now. And I posted a couple, I think it was like a week ago, of potential films that I'd like to see could be continuing on with this character, Harley Quinn. And I suggested Gotham City Sirens, or if we could see like a Black Widow. No, if we could see a Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. It has been confirmed. Warner Brothers has confirmed
Oh, wow.
that we're getting a Gotham City Sirens movie.
Okay.
So I'm very curious if this is maybe like a way for them to segue into like the fact that she's already enhanced, which would suggest that she already knows Poison Ivy,
Mhm.
and then hop into Gotham City Sirens.
Okay.
So that was really exciting.
So,
That scene was so good.
With that being said, because if anything, her Boomer and Flag, and even I would throw Bloodsport in there, or maybe not. They're the only ones that aren't quote unquote meta humans, because every other person on the team has some type of ability or whatnot. So,
Right.
that's what I would have assumed from her. I knew she was a gymnast, and I've known her to be a gymnast ever since like Batman and the animated series. But I didn't know that she was enhanced. So if that is the case, then that explains a lot as far as how she can lift up somebody who looks to be 200 plus when she's already lifting herself up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so just a couple little tidbits there as well. So with Gotham City Sirens being in development, recently it's actually also been added to Margot Robbie's IMDb. So she's the only one I think confirmed for the movie as of right now. But that was not the case even like a few weeks ago, because I check every now and then.
Every day.
Every day. Let's be real. Let's be real. So it's only been recently updated, I believe. On IMDb, the current description is just following three Gotham City's most notorious female criminals on one of their most dangerous mission ever. Of course, referring to Catwoman,
Poison Ivy and
Harley Quinn. But it's rumored that we'll also see Black Canary on there, Batgirl, Batman, Joker, and Suicide Squad members might also make an appearance. So this could be like a hefty film in terms of like how many people and characters we see. So I'm really excited about it. You will know I am.
I don't know. I want to be excited, but the only way that I can be excited is if they're going to be using the same actors as we've seen in the past.
You mean if they
if you're saying actors? Batman and Joker, like if it's Jared Leto and Ben Affleck, sure, then I'm in. But if this is something new, something else, another standalone, I don't know how excited I'll be. I'm not going to be as excited as a new Marvel movie.
Yeah, I think if they do have Batman in there and Joker, I feel like they would keep the same actors involved. Same goes for, if they have any members from the Suicide Squad, or if they even bring in Black Canary. I forget that actress's name, but she did great in Birds of Prey. So I feel like if they do end up bringing these characters along, it's going to be the same people. But I'm excited. There's a lot of rumors of who can play what's her name? Poison Ivy. So a couple of names that were thrown out were Emma Stone, Bryce Dallas. Apparently Megan Fox was considered for a while, but then they kind of moved past that idea.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're going to come back to it, because she did express interest in being in it. I don't think that's quite the role I'd like to see her in, but, who knows? And then for the role of Catwoman, the name Haley Bennett has been thrown around. I haven't seen too many things with her in it, but I'm excited,
Did you
and
just
that's
rhyme
kind
on
of just what I have
purpose?
on my tidbit. What was that?
Haley Bennett, not just in it. You got bars. You're a rapper now.
What did I say?
He said Haley Bennett, and I hope that she's in it. You know what I'm saying? So, oh,
Oh,
Grace the
what can I
rapper.
say? It
Oh
comes natural.
snap! Yep.
Comes It comes natural. What can I say, Derek?
Was
What
there
can I
anything else
say?
in the Harley scene? Because as far as what she did with the javelin, I'm not gonna lie, that was actually kind of crazy.
That scene was just gorgeous. All of it. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was so well done. I also really love the scene where, because I'll be honest, I was kind of getting a little worried. I wasn't a fan of how they were setting up her character for the film in the beginning when they were kind of pairing her with Luna and almost putting her in the same submissive role that she was in with the Joker. It was rubbing me the wrong way. So in that scene where Luna's talking about what his plans are for Jotunheim, he's talking about killing children, and then he turns around and my girl comes in with the save and
Mm-hmm.
shoots the man on the line of like the dark humor that you enjoy when she says,
Right.
"I just like you better like this," with
Right.
that love beautiful head all empty of those nasty thoughts. That was pretty dark.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think, the only I think it's the only callback also to the events of Birds of Prey, where her and the Joker are no longer together. So that was kind of fun too, because she talks about obviously like
Like
the
she's already gone
abusive
through that.
boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was such a good scene, especially because I was like, "Don't do this, sir! Don't do this, sir!" And then they turned around, and I was like, "Yes!" But they had me worried. They
Yeah.
had me worried. That's kind of all I had for in terms of the scene with Harley Quinn. But one last thing, actually, that scene where she's escaping,
Mm-hmm.
Margot Robbie performed that stunt by herself.
Her
Like
running
there
on the
was no
wall.
stunt double. No, I'm talking about the scene where she escapes.
What do you mean?
uh, the scene we were just talking about
Yeah.
with Harley Quinn's strength, all of that.
Yeah.
She did that all by herself. I'm assuming still with like the syrups, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But there wasn't a stunt double that like hopped in and did the scene, which I thought was really cool.
It was a full frontal. Like you can see that it was her, you know. And with that, I feel like if she is as strong as you say she is, then
She are.
she are. Yep. Then yeah, why not? Why not make her seem strong? You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't against that. I wasn't mad at that. I was actually surprised and shocked when I saw that. I was like, damn, that back though.
And then there's like a scene where she's talking to, I think it's when she's talking to Luna and she first meets him, and you get this beautiful scene of Margot Robbie's back muscles. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is like screenshot, this is goals.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so you can tell she was physically like strong enough to like perform that stunt. Even
Mhm.
with stirrups, like they still have to have some physical ability to get
Oh,
that done. So that's
definitely,
really
definitely.
impressive.
Mhm.
Apparently James Gunn was really upset because there's a portion in the scene where, because of her like maneuvering to get like the keys and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
you don't see her face completely. So he was worried that people wouldn't recognize that it was actually her, not a stunt double.
Gotcha.
But it's pretty clear that it was
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
didn't,
Yeah.
it was really well done.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to pose a question to you.
Okay.
I mentioned it earlier, but I'm gonna bring it back
Do
in.
it.
So obviously James Gunn knew the characters he wanted to kill off for the most part from the beginning, and then
Mhm.
which characters he was going to keep towards the end.
Mhm.
Apparently, there are two characters that and he didn't say which ones, but there's two characters that were killed off that he wished could stay, but it just made sense for the plot that he's like, no, I gotta kind of have to do it.
Mhm.
I was gonna pose the question: if you could have saved two of the Suicide Squad members that were killed off,
In the
who would
beginning.
you pick? And any of them, because right, even Flag is killed off later in the end. Polka Dot Man is killed off later in the end. So, of any of the Suicide Squad members, that I will even include Milton into this category.
Mm.
Who would you resurrect, if you will? Like, what would be your top two people to bring back?
I would have, like I said, the guy who played like you said, it's Savan. I wanted to see more from him because that was a letdown. Being that he
Mm-hmm.
is almost as precise as Deadshot, that's something that I would have wanted to see. So it would have been him and it. Well, who else? Who else? I'm trying to think who else would have died because, I mean, who I want to live because the one guy with the arms, that was weird. The guy who can separate his arms from his body. Kate is no TKD. No, what's his name?
TDK,
TDK.
TDK, the detachable kid.
The
Yeah,
detachable kid. Okay. Yeah. No, not bringing him back to life. Um.
he's the last on your list.
Right. Maybe the guy with the javelin then. See what he could do because he didn't really get to do anything. Like he didn't even get to throw it. Like he is made and then he gets shot up. So I think those two, Savan and the javelin guy.
Gotcha. See, my list, I have Flag, of course. That's
Okay.
the one his death, I was like, I don't want him to go.
Mm-hmm.
I like this man. I really didn't want him to leave. And also, Polka Dot Man. Those two would probably be the ones I'd like save just because it upset me that they were killed off, especially Polka Dot Man when, that scene where he was just like, it's your mom!
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I am a superhero!
Right, but right
And
when
I'm
he
like,
started to celebrate,
yeah.
that's when I knew. I was like, oh, he's out of here. Yep.
I knew too. I knew. You and I.
Yep.
I think we've been fans of this world long enough to sense when it's coming, and I was
Right.
like, no.
Mm-hmm.
But it's apparently a character that was supposed to also be killed off was Cleo, so Ratcatcher 2. She was supposed to be killed off. It was brought up in the original writing of like the script, but James Gunn was like, "No, she's too cute to kill." Like those were his words, and that just is another callback to Guardians of the Galaxy and Groot. Right when they're like, "Oh, are we gonna kill this one?" It's like, "No, he's too cute to kill."
Exactly.
Send him to the tailor. So that was kind of funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that's everything I got. Again, this is all from me seeing this last night. It's almost last minute. I'm a little bummed that they're not letting people across the border watch this movie.
I did not know that. That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
insane.
It's not available down in Mexico, and I had to wait till I came back to watch it. So, I don't want to say I freestyled this, but this is really all coming off the top of the head right here.
Raw.
Yeah. But yeah, this is
I hear.
everything I got. Do you have anything else?
I'm giving a quick little skim to see. I had a couple of, let's see. I think that's kind of all that I got, at least the main things that I saw. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's kind of it for me.
Okay.
Oh, actually, a couple of things, because obviously with the first Suicide Squad not having done really well, it was just a couple notes or words from that previous director. I'm going to say his name. Where is it? I know I have it here.
Is that David?
Ayer.
Yeah.
So, there were a lot of people were kind of thinking like, oh, maybe there's bad blood between them and James Gunn, but apparently he was very supportive about the transition in directors, and he's very happy with the film, especially considering that his adaptation was done with so much restrictions. They changed a lot of his ideas, and it was not introduced the way that he wanted to. He did thank like the other people and creative people who helped the Suicide Squad one, because it gave us a lot of gems like Harley Quinn, Flag, and all of that. Let's see. I had another note, but he will be coming back to direct Gotham City Sirens. So he's going to get like another chance to get his creativity into a DC world, and hopefully he doesn't have as much like pushback from the other people.
Yeah.
But James Gunn luckily had a lot of freedom filming this movie, and you can kind of tell, and I think that's why it's done so like cohesively. It flows really well. The characters are great, even more so than Guardians of the Galaxy. And when he was picking his character, same thing, he had free range, but he specifically chose, like, no one said no to him apparently for any of the people he chose. He could have chosen anybody, but he decided to pick these characters, the detachable kid, all of that, because they were kind of no names, kind of losers, and was able to highlight a lot of them, like, Ratcatcher and Peacekeeper and all of those that I think were, aren't really seen as highlights in the DC comics, but I think now they're definitely on people's radars enough that Peacekeeper's getting his own TV series. So pretty cool stuff.
Well, if rumors are to be true about David Ayer directing the next I guess Gotham movie, I'm not mad at that, simply for the fact that if, say for the first Suicide Squad, if he didn't have the creative freedom that he's had with his previous movies, because he has uh, uh, a track list of good movies, like going from
Yeah.
Training Day to what else has he done? Fight Club and a whole bunch of other movies that are almost considered cult classics. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
absolutely. So
I'm not mad at if they're gonna give him another go. Great. I would just hope they give him a little bit more freedom than what he got for the first Suicide Squad.
yes, and I think with how much better this movie has done compared to the first one, I think, and also with Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, I think they're seeing a theme of, hey, why don't you just let these directors do what they do best?
Yeah.
And so it makes me excited for future DC films because I think they're trying to really clean up their act and put out these great films. I think the next DC film that I'm really excited for is The Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't see Suicide Squad in theaters, but if you did, you know that we got like a really extended trailer for it. And let me just say, watching that in theaters got me so excited.
Yeah.
You are getting the
Mm-hmm.
dark, the broody, the all of that we want to see. Zoe Kravitz, yes. So there's a lot of exciting things, and I think with the success of these past couple films like Suicide Squad and Justice League, it shows just let these directors have the creative freedom, and I'm very excited about future films coming and meeting that same expectation.
Okay. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Again, say if you have anything else to say, just to kind of close out, Grace. Do you have anything?
Nope, that
No.
is all.
All
That is
right.
all.
Well, as you can see, that this is another episode of the Comic Cinematic Universe. Thank you again, Grace. And you can find her on Instagram at mightygrace_fit. And this will be posted up on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. Just search "Chill from VA," just like it's spelled on here. And yeah. Oh, last thing. So the next time I will be seeing you, Grace, we will be talking about the What If series, correct?
Yes, what if?
Okay, because right now I know we're already one episode deep, and by the time that we are back, episodes 2 and 3 should have aired. So we are going to, I guess, recap episodes 1 through 3 that Friday, correct?
Absolutely. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about. We'll have 3 episodes to break down. It's gonna be lots
Yeah.
of fun. So make sure to join us, everybody. It'll be great.
Awesome. All right. Well, again,
Yeah.
thanks again, Grace. And thank you all for tuning in. And we will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.